Hey guys, Ojama here for Deck of the Month for November. It is Chainburn, and let's get started. So first, running of the monster lineup, we're starting with Morphing Jar, who, when he's flipped face up, or by battle, or by just normal battle change position, both players draw 5 cards, and, well, first you have to discard their entire hand, and then they draw 5 cards. So it's pretty nice. It actually helps you mostly than them, but it can still help you both ways. But yes, it is a great card and should not be underestimated in this deck. And you should always watch out, because you're only playing 2 other monsters actually. Marshmallon, one of the other 2. When the controller of an opponent's monster when the controller of a monster attacks this face down defense position card, after battle damage, they take 1,000 points of damage, and he's not destroyed by battle. So he stalls and burns your opponent. So, and he's happy right now, so, because he's just so happy thinking about that. And the other monster you're running is Gorz, Emissary, Darkness. Why? Because everything you're running, except for obviously the monsters, is chainable. So, and other than that, it's better than Trigodia, because Trigodia in most cases, you're not running many monsters, so you can't steal, and you're not running tuners, so you can't synchro. So in this case, Trigodia stinks because at best your hand's going to be 2 or 3 cards at best. Otherwise it's going to be 1 or 0 in most cases. That's just how this deck works. So Trigodia just does not work for you, and that's why Trigodia is better, or I mean Gorz is better, my bad. And he has just 25 defense up front, and in rare case opponent tries to OTK you, so one reason to have Gorz. Now to the spells. One Scapegoat, this counts towards your monster lineup in a way, because it brings out little 4 fluffy goats that are in defense position right away. As long as they don't have Borer or Piercer, they're pretty good. And you can just use it as a chain link for a card you're going to need later. And speaking of chain links, Chain Strike, which requires chain links to burn your opponent. If you don't know what this does, then you've not been in a game long enough. Activate only as a chain link 2 or higher. Inflict 400 points of damage to your opponent for times the chain link of this card. So what does that mean? Is if you activate this as a chain link 4 at the time this is activated, it inflicts that much damage times 400. So that means it will inflict 16. And if you activate this higher than that, then it inflicts that much. But mind you, if this is activated chain link 4 and let's say your total chain links go up to 7, that means it only still inflicts 16 points of damage, because we will not count the total number of chain links in the chain, only the chain link it was activated in. So just mind that. And this can be activated if multiple cards of the same effect or name are activated in the chain. So you activate 2 Jar Greeds and Scapegoat, you can activate this after those 3 cards have been activated, because 2 Jar Greeds have already been activated, 2 cards of the same name in this case. Just mind that. And mind you, the deck does take skill to play correctly, because if you just throw away the cards willy-nilly, you're going to lose actually. 3 Poison of the Old Man. Select one of the following effects when you activate this card. 1. You increase your life points by 1,200, or inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. You only get to choose one of those effects, and obviously you're going to be choosing the last one. Last of the spell lineup, we're running 3 Tremendous Fire. Why are we running this? Inflicts 1,000 points of damage to your opponent and 500 to you. The 500 is minimal to you because you're running stall and you're running a lot of cards that will actually just allow you to win very quickly. And also, because 1,000 points is 1/8 of your opponent's total life points. That's pretty deadly. 1 Chain Detonation of the trap lineup from now, which will always be traps from the moment. Inflict 500 points. Inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. Now that's small, but what it can do is pretty cool. If it's activated as a chain link 2 or 3, it goes back to the deck and you shuffle it. That happens right away after it resolves. So if your opponent activates MST and you activate this after the MST, it'll go back to the deck and they just wasted MST. Now if this is activated as a chain link 4 or higher, it will go back to your hand instead. Pretty awesome. Now, 1 Ceasefire. This is pretty deadly because it actually neutralizes, or it kills Raikou and Spy in a certain way, because it flips all face down defense position monsters that on the field, and flip effects are not activated. So it kills them, and also than that, inflicts 500 points of damage to your opponent for each face up effect monster on the field. Now sure, that kind of screws up your Morphing Jar and Marshmallon, but you can get around it because that's only 2 cards. Next, 2 Dimension Wall. You can only activate this when your opponent declares an attack. The monster that attacks when you activate this card, if you take any battle damage from that attack when you activate this card, it goes to your opponent instead. So if they attack with a Thunder King Ryle or Bora, whatever damage that you will take from that battle, as long as it's not a defense position monster, unless the monster that's attacking is a piercer, they'll take the damage. All of it. Every last one. Next, we're running 2 Magic Cylinder. Negate the attack of one of your opponent's monsters and inflict damage equal to the monster's attack. That's crazy. So your opponent might cry when they boost up their Bora and they attack, and just like, boom. They can't chain anchor's attack to that. It's too late. It's too late. It already happened. It already happened. 2 Ojama Trio. This is pretty deadly. Why? Although it special summons 3 tokens to your opponent's side of the field, they can sync with them, but they can't tribute them. What it does for your deck later on is actually very beneficial. Other than the fact that if the monsters are destroyed by a card effect or battle, they take 300 points of damage. It actually allows you to add more chain links to your cause, and it'll actually kind of stall your opponent if they don't have a tuner. So, and you can't force them to tribute their own monsters that they really don't want to tribute. 2 Fairy Wind. Oops. 2 Fairy Wind. Destroy all other face-up spell and trap cards on the field. So if your opponent tries to chain Royal Decree, you can just be like, no, bye-bye. And for each spell or trap card that's destroyed by this card's effect, both players take 300 points of damage for each one. So it does not destroy itself because it says other in its name, but it just allows you to, this is the only other card in Tremendous Fire that actually inflicts damage to you, but it's minor, so, but yes, Fairy Wind. Next, 3 Secret Barrel, another card that makes Ojama Trio awesome. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the total number of cards your opponent's side of the field and in their hand. This is the reason why Morphing Jar is good. And each card that your opponent has on their side of the field and in their hand, or on your opponent's side of the field and in hand, they take 200 for each one. So Ojama Trio counts as cards in this case as well. Trust me, it does count. And so that's 3 tokens, that's 600, plus the amount of cards they already have on the field. Another card, just desserts, Ojama Trio. Awesome. That's all you need to know. Why? Because the tokens also count as monsters. So for each monster your opponent controls, they take 500 damage for each one. So if they have 4, they take 2,000. And if you activate Ojama Trio as the last card and you activate this in the chain link earlier than Ojama Trio, since it resolves backwards, the tokens are summoned and then they take more damage. So this is a little trick that you can play with. Then for the draw power of the deck, 3 Jar of Greed, 3 Legacy of Yata-Garasu. This allows you to draw 1 card, and rare chance if your opponent ever has a spirit monster face up on their side of the field, you can draw 2 cards. Pretty nice. And 3 Reckless Greed. Yes, it's not an FTK deck, but it can still win very fast. But you do need the draw power. And 1 other card, Accumulated Fortune. Activate only as a chain link 4 or higher. Draw 2 cards. You cannot activate this card if multiple cards or effects with the same name are activated in this chain. So in short, kind of like I described earlier with Chain Strike, you have to be careful, but you can activate another after you activate 1 Accumulated Fortune, because this does not count itself until you have to try to activate a 3rd one, which won't work, trust me, because that means there's 2 cards of the same name already in that chain. So yes, it's really good. Now you're probably thinking, now you can lose your opponent chains Trap Stun or Royal Decree. True, but Trap Stun you can get around for the turn, it's minor. And if they activate it early on, then they kind of mess up themselves because you can still get around it at that point. 7 tools, if they activate that, they're just helping you because 1,000 is 1,000 less. They spend 1,000, so it's 1,000 less that you have to worry about trying to kill. But yeah, you can side in MSTs if your opponent's playing Royal Decree. Other than that, the deck's cheap and fun. So yeah, really, really cheap and fun. But it does take a lot of skill to play, and it is competitive. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, and peace out.